I think this may be my final video podcast on the Claire Morgan Frankie crowd justice case situation. I'm not saying that I'm never going to speak about it again. I may do, I may not, but it's no longer going to be something that I'm going to ever prioritize on my channel, because I think I've made my stance clear and made my opinion clear that I don't believe that there's ever going to be a courtroom meeting between AD and Frankie. I've said this numerous times, and so far I have been proven right. My ex-friend Sharon Tarrant said that I'm trying to save face by talking about Frankie and the crowd justice and Claire Morgan and the court case, or the so-called court case, because I've been proven wrong. There's not one thing that has been proven that I've said to be wrong with regard to Frankie and his so-called court case. To this day, despite years and years of raising money and fundraising, AD and Frankie have never once met, or at least they are still yet to ever meet in a courtroom. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't think it will ever happen. I don't envision it, and I don't see it. And that's okay. Sometimes we start things and we don't finish them. Sometimes we have the intention to do something and it doesn't come to fruition. This, for whatever reason, didn't come to fruition, and I'm more than happy to be honest about it. You know, I'm an empathic person. That doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm sweet, I'm giving, until somebody gets on the wrong side of me. Once you're on the wrong side of me, and once I'm figured that I'm done with you, that's it. I don't go back. However, I think that I've made my point clear, and I've made my position clear, that I don't believe that Frankie's case is going anywhere. And I think for the people like Helen and Val and the people on that side of the fence, I think it's time for them to be really honest about Claire Morgan, to clear the air and to put everything out on the table. Because once that Claire Morgan shroud of question mark and mystery is hanging in the air, I don't think there's ever going to be peace. You know, I did not join this community. I wouldn't even say that I joined this community. I was interested in the Watts case, as I am in many cases. And, you know, I stumbled upon this community by accident through the Watts case. And I didn't come into this community because I wanted to be on any side, or because I wanted to be back and forth with anybody. That was never my intention. I saw what AD was doing. I didn't like what AD was doing. And I supported the Rusecs in their determination to get AD off, you know, to have him removed. And I supported them up until the time that I found out that Claire Morgan wasn't really a lawyer. And I think instead of the back and forth and the name calling and all that kind of stuff that's going on, you notice that I don't indulge in that. That doesn't mean to say that I'm any kind of angel. You know, I'm far from an angel, never have been. You know, I've never been an angel. I've never been a saint, never will be. But I don't indulge in certain types of behavior because I want to keep my head clean, my channel clean, my spirit clean. So, you know, I don't indulge in the name calling, the language that's been used. I don't indulge in that. I indulge in my opinions of what I think is fact. I also have never pretended to be a legal expert or an expert on the crowd justice. I see what I see and I make my observations. And from what I've observed, Claire Morgan has never been a lawyer. And I think in order for anything to happen that is positive within this community, that big question mark has to be resolved. And another thing is, I think that we all have to be honest about this so-called court case and stop trying to pretend that something is going to happen when it clearly isn't. There has only been 2 updates. Next stage court proceedings was the second update. No one has heard about it since. There's been no update. There's been no action. Nothing is happening. It's time for the community to be honest instead of worrying about who is better than who has a bigger house than who has a nicer dog than who. I mean, some of the stuff that goes back and forth is just ridiculous. And I know that some people are not going to like what I'm saying here, but at the end of the day, what was this initially about? This was about AD. This was about getting him taken down because of what he was doing with these cases. And now it's become about who is better than who. How did we get to this point? How did we get here? How did we get to the point where we can no longer be honest, where we have to keep up this facade? Well, not me. I don't indulge in keeping up with this facade. I've been saying that there's not going to be a court case for years, for ages. And I knew that I would get the reaction that I got. But why is it that people on the other side and people like you, Helen, why do you feel like you have to keep up this facade? It's obvious that nothing is happening. It's obvious that AD is winning. As much as that is not what I wanted it to be. I was hoping that AD would be gone and that, the Ruseks would get some peace. But instead, Frankie opened his mouth. And what did he go around doing? He went around saying, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. And nothing has become of it. Nothing. Nothing has become of anything that he said. All that's happened is that he just continues to ask for donations. That's his accomplishment online. Getting donations and asking for donations. This was supposed to get AD sorted. AD's still here and nothing has been accomplished. When are you, Helen, and the people on your side of the fence? I don't consider myself on any side. Your situation with Bam is between you and Bam. It has nothing to do with me. If I'm friends with somebody and they don't like somebody that I speak to, that's fine. That has nothing to do with me. Your situation with Bam is between you and Bam. It has nothing to do with me. When are you people going to actually be honest and have some honesty here? Why is honesty, even if honesty isn't the fairy tale story that we all want to hear, it's not going to have the fairy tale ending that we wanted. Why is honesty such a challenge for you? I don't understand. It's clear that nothing is happening with this case, because something was happening. We would have seen it by now. I thought Frankie was paying lawyers so they could do all the work. Why is everyone else doing the work that the lawyers should be doing? Why is AD being followed to hotels and poker matches and holidays? If AD wants to go on a holiday for 3 months and play poker, that's his business. Do you know what I mean? That's his business. I don't care about that. How did we get from trying to get him down to following him all over the place? I mean, I didn't follow him, but, people like, we know the culprits. Martin followed him here, there, and everywhere. What was that? What was the end goal for that? What is that going to achieve, following him to his hotels, to his poker matches? I don't understand it. And what I'm saying is, this has become, the objective, the initial objective. This is what I'm trying to say, essentially. The initial objective has been lost. And people can't face, they don't want to be like how I am, honest. They would rather give you a fairy tale version of something rather than actually be honest and tell the truth. The truth is not a fairy tale. So the whole objective of the truth community has been lost, in my opinion. And I have to say, I have to laugh sometimes, life, I don't want my podcast to just be about doom. Of course not. It's important to laugh, it's important to smile, it's important to smell the roses, it's important to listen to the birds chirping in the morning and be happy. But, I am very disappointed with what's happened to this community and what I've been witnessing over the past few weeks and months. The goal, the end goal, and the objective has been lost in a shadow of back and forth and who's better than who, and what does Frankie just sit there with his arms folded, just looking at all of this and not saying anything and expecting that the donations are just going to roll in, because it just seems that that's how it is. Anyway, this is my final video podcast on the matter. I've said what I have to say. I'm sure there's a lot more that I could say, but I don't think I need to.